You know, Alan Watts, I don't know if you know Alan Watts. He puts it, he was an author and a motivational speaker.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of quotes that he has online. You can get them online. But he put it well and said, why teach your kids to live the same way that you did?
Yeah.
Imagine you live on a 9-to-5 basis, you live on a salary, and then you get paid. Leo male, it's borrowed because at the end of the month, awusana mali. So, but imagine had you invested in your talent, had you invested in what you love doing, no matter what, or no matter who says what, how far would you be? Because trust me, along the way, you're going to meet others that are doing what you are doing.
Yeah.
And then along the way, you form something and then you take it to another level. And I can tell you this with no doubt in my mind. We would see the ones that we see right now who've made it, who are there out there popping, are the guys that who never gave up. The guys that said, mina nakanjani angifuni isikole, angifuni ukusebenza 9 to 5, ngizopusha and then I'm going to get where I am. Another example, intwana sekazi Ezra. Perfect example.
Ezra's doing very well for himself.
Same guy, we grew up on the same street. I even taught him how to DJ.
Daluzibona mfuthu daluzenza.
Enota kudala ngizenza mara ngiyabona mara.
Well, hello, Lead Podcast family, and welcome to yet another installment of the Lead Podcast, where we believe in impactful leadership. And today, I'm with a man who is very impactful in his chosen field, which is entertainment. And he does this through creativity, innovation, and definitely with some entrepreneurial flair. So today, I introduce to you Mr. Tshepo Medupe. Tshepo, thanks, my brother, for coming to the podcast.
What an introduction. Thank you for having me, my brother. Thanks.
Yeah. No, we welcome you, man. We welcome you. You know, the Lead Podcast is passionate about all things leadership, and we've been watching the work that you've been doing. You know, you've got quite a heavy social media presence, so it really gave us an insight into some of the things that you're doing. But before we delve into that, who is Tshepo? Can you give us a background of who you are, please?
All right, where do I start? Okay, Tshepo Medupe was born in Witbank, his number in Extension 5.
Yeah.
Went to Kluwa Primary School, later went to Patriot High School. Was born in General Hospital.
Yeah.
But later on, I went to Varsity in Pretoria. And then that helped me a lot.
Yeah.
Because I went there for different fields. And, you know, I met different people, which shaped me. But leadership on its own, it's something that, you know, I plowed from a young age. Yeah, from primary, you know, my parents would tell me that you are a bit different to the other kids. You know, and Nami, I discovered that along the way. But in a nutshell, that's who Tshepo is.
That's you. I'm glad you talk about your parents. You know, I think in every experience that we have in life, I think a lot of it has to do with something that we experienced as young kids.
Yeah.
You know, we are who we are. We're the sum total of our childhood experiences. And I'm glad that you talk about your parents, but also give us an idea of some of the other people in your life who've been impactful and helped you to become the person you are today.
That's a good question. Definitely my brother, my late brother, John Modise Medupe. He shaped a lot of what you see today, what the man that I am today.
Yeah.
Because, you know, when you are having an older brother, you tend to idolize him and, you know, to look up to him for certain characteristics or values that you can also, you know, impart on your own life.
Yeah.
Apart from my brother, it was, I had a teacher called Mr. Lopsha. I don't know if he's watching, but he's an old guy. Mr. Lopsha shaped me, especially in high school.
Yeah.
Because, you know, you get to high school, now just picture this. You're outside Sekas. I take a taxi, I have to go to school. This is like a Klipfontein.
Yeah.
When you get there, you are naturally obligated to act a certain way so that you don't give away you know, that little sense of what you have. So I remember telling him this. You say, man, listen, I'm conflicted because here I am. I need to be this person, mangse lokshin. But mangfika lana, when I try to be something else, which makes me happy, I get conflicted. And then the old man was like, listen here, always be yourself.
Yeah.
No matter what, be yourself. Whether ule or rula, be yourself. That's when you're going to reach a level of self-actualization. I'm like, self-actual what? Self-actualization.
Yeah.
Went back home, did my research, and then I understood what he was trying to convey to me.
Yeah.
So yes, Mr. Lobsha, my brother, definitely, and obviously my parents, especially my mom.
Yeah.
She was very influential.
Sure. And I know the environment also that you grew up also plays a big impact on the person that you are now. You've said so eloquently, we out here sekasi.
Yeah.
And my experience was sekasi, they shaped you as well to some degree. Can you just share some memorable experiences as well from your time at Kasi, you know, that helped you to kind of get a sense of where you want to go in your career?
Okay, let me see. It started as a kid. Ekasi Bestanda, you know, this was during the times of hip hop, your early 2000s, late 90s.
Yeah.
So hip hop was ushering in Kwaito Bese Puma. So the music aspect of it was your ciphers and trying to make music. Ekasi back then. So that kind of environment gave me joy. I'm not gonna lie. That's the first part. And then the second part, the community itself.
Yeah.
So, you know, growing up, Lokshin, I'd compare it to, you know, you'd go to these so-called Model C schools and then you see these kids, Bashalima suburbs, and then you're like, these kids are having it good. Why can't we have the same things that they're having that side? Lokshin. And there's a problem. People are just depressed. People are just, you know, sad. You know, and then you ask yourself, what's going on? And then you start to understand why women run to churches, why women run to clinics, run to these environments, because they have given up on the community itself, the ills of the community. And who drives those ills? It's us men.
Yeah.
So, unfortunately, my dad is a pastor to this day. As humble as he is, he was, in a way, you know, he's old school.
Yeah.
But he was like trying to teach us as his kids to say, listen, Ilogish might have its problems, but the determining factor, as a person, as my children, you are the ones that can make a difference. The little difference that you make goes a long way, and remain humble after doing that. So the second part of it is family. The third part and the last part is the community itself. In that, the community, if, you know, you've got different personalities, Lokshin, I think those people that I hung around with, they shaped me to be the person that I am to this day. Because you've got different personalities, like I said. You know, you've got this guy who's coming from a different home. And my mom used to tell me this. To this day, she always tells me this, to say, my child, some people are raised on love. Some are raised on survival. So that's a thin line, because if you're raised on love, you shouldn't worry what that person is going to do to you. But if a person is raised on survival,
it's a different ball game altogether.
Yes, sir. So be wary of those people, because you are raised on love. And if a person is raised on survival, take them in and teach them, this is what love is all about. This is what you can achieve out of love. So stop that hatred and stop that, you know, finger pointing to say, why mina malapalekan? Why can't I be like them? So yeah, I think those are the things that impacted me. Yeah.
You know, when you talk about this, the first thing that comes to mind is, you know, Trump once had a show called The Apprentice. And he had a session where he basically pitted the street smarts versus the book smarts, you know. And having been, mina, by the way, like a kasi, maybe I stayed there for a good 4 years or so, and then it was straight to the suburbs. I think we moved to the suburbs when I was probably around 8 or 9 years old. So my experience in Nekasi was very limited, you know. But I actually noticed, people who came from that environment got the street smart aspect of it as well. And they tended to excel more in the social aspects because of that, you know. And when I think of your story now, there were so many people that you could see, Ekas, like different characters who represented different things. And the fact that you say that your parents told you that your environment might be twofold. It might be raised on love, or it might be based on love, or it might be based on survival. Those are key points of living a street smart life, because you get to gauge people and have a sense of people instead of just naively interacting with people from an academic or an inexperienced thing. So, and I noticed that even on that show, the people who tended to excel were the ones who were street smart, because they had that ability to think outside of what a textbook, would normally teach you. So I love that aspect. I wish I stayed a bit longer so I'd have that street smartness, but I guess life wasn't really, going to offer me that. But I admire the fact that as well, you talk about hip hop.
Yeah.
In that period, man. I'm from the generation of 8 Mile.
Yeah.
And all of that, where people are having ciphers and there were rap battles and all of that, and that was quite a nice, interesting time. But I know hip hop also started taking off around, especially in my generation when Tupac and Notorious B.I.G. were starting to beef. I think that's when most people were exposed
late 90s.
To, So give us an idea of when you decided to catch on to the hip hop bug.
I was bit by the hip hop bug, I'd say, well in my early 2000s.
Yeah.
This was after the Biggie and Pac era.
Yeah.
But during that time, it was SA hip hop that was coming up. And I mean, personally, I was fascinated by that, because I was like, for a change, man, we don't have to rap in English. We don't have to be, you know what I mean? For a change, we can start rapping in our own native languages.
Yeah.
So people like Abu Pro Kid.
Hey.
Pro.
Orla Pro, may you rest in peace, man.
Pro. Tuksinganga, being at Tswana, obviously. Tuksinganga, Double HP.
Yeah.
Who else?
The Motswako movement.
The Motswako movement. Morafe.
Yeah.
My son, by the way, to this day, is named after one of the songs, Morafe.
Yeah.
But it makes perfect sense. People like... who else back in the day? Okay.
Zagwe was also killing it.
Zagwe was killing it. But I felt Pro mainly because of his wordplay.
Yeah. Fire.
Pro was on another level.
Nah.
And then during that time, then we would have ciphers by the corners, Shama beatbox. There you are doing your ciphers and all of that. And I realized, no, man, Bafethu, busy rap but at the end of the day, we don't have beats to rap on.
Yeah.
We don't have studios to record at. We don't have equipment. What do we do? Because there's so much talent locally, but what do we do?
Yeah.
And then that's when I stepped in to say, guys, I'm going to get equipment. I'm going to open a studio. I'm going to teach myself how to produce. And then you come through and then we take it from there. And then
So actually, humor us, man. I do get the sense that you're self-taught.
Yeah.
Since you started in that manner, what did you do? What's the first equipment you bought? What is the first software that you used as well, in your
Mr. Lobsha. Talking about Mr. Lobsha.
Yeah.
My first PC ever. White man.
Yeah.
I'm telling Mr. Lobsha, I'm from disadvantaged background. Hook me up with something that you have. He gave me a PC. There's a Batman. It's Windows 95.
Yeah. The big ones.
The big ones, yeah. He gave me that.
3 minutes or 5 minutes to start. Yeah.
And then after giving me that, I was like, okay, next step, meaning mic.
Yeah.
Microphone. How do I get a microphone? Plan. But okay, option, I need to get a side hustle.
Yeah.
So at that time,
Please tell me what it is.
Let's inform.
Yeah.
I'm thinking
a back room, Brian. Yeah.
Back room, exactly. Back room, bengiplome garage, So my beknomunye about to life.
Yeah.
Life begeza. Now life la.
Khona
la. Life would come and record. Ngimtshela life man sidinga microphone. Life at that time I was like, no, nami ngi-student but ngizobona ukuthi uzoyenzani sihlanganise. I was like, okay, not a problem. Mina ngine side hustle bengiprinta ama CV. CV, so I'd make money and save it and save it and save it.
Yeah.
I can't remember how much I'd saved up that time, but life and then we bought a mic. And the mic, it was not a condenser mic as fancy as that. It was a simple mic, but we were able to put a case around it.
Yeah.
And then that's when we started recording.
Yeah.
You know, it was a bit raw and distorted, but it made us happy because for the first time we could hear ourselves and on beats and everything was homemade. Yeah. So yeah.
What genre of music were you guys into at the time?
Hip hop, heavy hip hop, ikasi rap.
Yeah.
Ikwaito bese Puma, so there was a mixture of Ikwaito and hip hop at that time. So, but I would have different clients. Even U7, the mayor.
Yeah.
U7, you know, I record on a game. U7, you know, Assessor.
Yeah.
They used to record there by me. We're still young, man. You know, but they were doing, Assessor was doing Kasi Rap. U7 was more into, you know, your 50 cents and that kind of stuff. But it was nice. It was a vibe. Yeah.
Now talk to us. Assuming at this point now you actually saw what it is that you like doing.
Yeah.
How did you translate that into making a career into it now?
Well, that didn't happen overnight.
Yeah.
That took quite some time. It took years of harnessing the skill, sharpening the skill and polishing it.
Yeah.
But I can say, because I'm self-taught, I can say that collaborations were key.
Yeah.
Because you must humble yourself to say, listen, I cannot make the beat the same way that you do, but what can you teach me? So along the way, I learned a lot from people, especially in Gauteng.
Yeah.
When I moved that side, I was in varsity. I went to Tuks, University of Pretoria. I was doing geology. Imagine, out of all things. But it was a bursary. Though.
Yeah.
I was doing geology at the time, and then there was a guy called Ukekana. Shout out. Uyazazi, Daniel, DMK.
Yeah.
He was from ZB, ZBDL.
Yeah.
So this guy was like, no, listen, my guy, we love your beats and would like to invest in you. He was like 2 years ahead of me. So what happens is, you know, when you're done, he was doing drama, so he was doing adverts, so we'd get paid for these things.
Yeah.
And then we'd invest in me in terms of buying softwares. I was using FL3.
Fruity Loops.
Fruity Loops.
Yeah.
And then he bought me Irizin. After Irizin, SSL and the Pro Tools.
Yeah.
And then he bought monitor speakers. And, you know, these were not guys, man. They were trying to help me out and, you know, censor something. And we did. But along the way, I learned, harnessed my skill. As soon as other genres came in and they were popping at the time, I would use the same formula. Go to a person, humble myself, learn as much as I can, teach them Nami what I know, and then
Yeah, you're taking me back, man. You know, I'm thinking of the reasons. Reason 3, the 3.0, reason 3.0, Fruity Loops. You know, there was a time when I was also in varsity and my roommate was just obsessed with producing, you know. And this is the kind of softwares that you also liked using, you know. But I used to love how, as you say, so many people from so many walks of life who were interested in music would come in, you know. And you check a lot of them, you know, I'm glad you talk about tax and stuff. A lot of them were university students, but I kind of felt like they were doing this more to please the parents and also to have stability. But the true love was actually being in the studio, in our room, you know, because the guy also had monitor speakers. You could produce using Reason. So the guys who were good in hip hop used to come to him. Yeah. Even the guys who wanted to, you know, dabble in a bit of house music, they'd come to him. Even some men and women who liked singing would come to him to put vocals on some of the tracks, you know. And I always ask myself, like, you know, what would have happened to those people had they decided to pursue music as a full-time thing? Do you think that the industry has lost talent at the altar of get a stable job?
Most def. The system, as it's put in place, is to indoctrinate the talented one to say, listen, you are wasting your time here.
Get in line.
Wasting your time. Get a 9 to 5.
Yeah.
Get something that's going to feed your family. Live the typical life. You know, Alan Watts, I don't know if you know Alan Watts. He puts it, he was an author and a motivational speaker.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of quotes that he has online. You can get them online. But he put it well and said, why teach your kids to live the same way that you did?
Yeah.
Imagine you live on a 9 to 5 basis, you live on a salary, and then you get paid. Leo mali, it's borrowed because at the end of the month, awusana mali. So So, but imagine had you invested in your talent, had you invested in what you love doing, no matter what, or no matter who says what, how far would you be? Because trust me, along the way, you're going to meet others that are doing what you are doing.
Yeah.
And then along the way, you form something and then you take it to another level. And I can tell you this with no doubt in my mind. See, the ones that we see right now who've made it, who are there out there popping, are the guys that who never gave up. The guys that said, mina nakanjani angifuni isikole angifuni ukusebenza 9 to 5 ngizopusha and then I'm going to get where I am. Another example, intwana sekazi Ezra. Perfect example.
Ezra's doing very well for himself.
Same guy, we grew up on the same street. I even taught him how to DJ. Marmuto Grotmani again.
Daluzbona mfuthu daluzenza.
Enota kutala ngizenza mara nyabona mara. Ezra Ndota came to me as a kid. Ulavi, there was a guy, may his soul rest in peace, my name. Ulavi, Asapila. He came and said, hey, Bahrotman, and Mfundisa no DJ. Samfundisa. We used to DJ as Steven, the first man. And then we'd take him along, Simfundisa, da. And then I left because I had to go to varsity. Later on, Ntwana took it seriously, and then he took it to another level. Look at him today. He never gave up. I was with him the other day, Emitrani. He tells me, if it wasn't for Ulavi now, to say, Ntwana, do this no matter who says what, I wouldn't be here where I am. Because they wanted me to go to varsity and do electrical engineering. I mean, I was like,
Tandu music.
And I'm going to push this thing until something happens. And look at him today.
He's doing extremely well for himself, I must say. We've been trying to get him onto this podcast, so definitely we want to hear his story. As we are hearing yours as well.
I'll hook him up.
Yeah, no, please, Ezra, if you're watching this, my brother, it's time. He was one of the first people actually that we tried to invite, but we know that at the time he was doing quite a few gigs, but I will definitely...
I will make it happen.
Let's make it happen, please, man. And big ups to him as well for winning the Metro Award. I think that's the crowning moment of a very talented man. So we see you, my brother. So now, you then moved into business. You know, now when I first heard about you, in fact, I did not know, I'll be honest, I didn't know about you, but you were presented to me as Mr. Anunnaki. So the first thing I thought is like, ish, I've never heard this name. What does it mean? So please elaborate first before we get into what you do. What does Anunnaki mean? And why the choice of that name?
Do you want the short answer or the long answer?
Be yourself, as Mr. Lobshaw would say.
That's a good one. Okay, so Anunnaki. Anunnaki basically means the ones that came from heaven to earth. Okay? And who are the ones that came from heaven to earth? These are deities from a planet we call Nibiru. A planet that orbits the earth every 3,600 years. And in NASA, you can go and do your research. It's still there. NASA, they know about this planet. They call it Planet X. And basically, they came to Earth to mine gold. Why were they mining for gold? Because their planet was on the brink of obstruction, basically. So they needed to repair their ozone layer with the gold. And what they did was they used, when they came here, they got hominids. Hominids is like, your monkeys you'd see, which were devoid of intelligence. So when they came to Earth, they were like, okay, we need this workforce to work for us. But lucky for them, they had come with what we call the Ijijis. These were not really human beings, slave labor that were able to mine and do all these things. But then they gave them too much intelligence. Later on, they rebelled against them. So the word Anunnaki, it comes from Anu, the god. And then Ki, the goddess. They came together, they had two sons. Enki and Enlil. So these were, you know how it is with them boys, opposites. So Enki was more like Satan or Satan, as we call them in the Bible. And Enlil was the good one. So Enlil, after this happened, I'm just going to fast forward.
Okay.
But if people want to know more, they can do the research. Enlil was like, listen, we've got all our gold. This is right, we are sorted. We've gotten everything. The planet is repaired. The planet is fine. And the orbit is about to, orbit. So we had our time, we need to leave. And then Key, the queen, was like to Anlil, listen, we cannot leave these human beings the way they are. We need to give them consciousness.
Yeah.
We need to give them something to look forward to because they've done us good. We told them that we are their gods, but now they need to also, fend for themselves and, live. Anki was against this, but eventually they won.
Yeah.
So you see those dichotomies, they come from that, even Nasipa Pelin, it comes from that theory.
Yeah.
So then what happens is they leave, their planet is fine, As this happens, human beings are given what we call intelligence.
Yeah.
But this intelligence is something that was genetically modified unto them. So do your research and do some, some logical thinking. We have e-language. Why do we have different languages? They didn't want us to be like the Ejijis who spoke one language so that they can rebel against the gods. They gave us that. We have different complexions.
Yeah.
Why is that? Remember, they had different colonies on Earth. Africa is the first place that they came to, and specifically South Africa. Have you heard about the Adam's calendar? Adam's calendar is ila in Mpumalanga. It's a, what's this place? Butchenscoop la in Mpumalanga. The funny thing is, when you look at that calendar, it aligns 90 degrees perfectly with the pyramids in Giza. And Africa was the first place of colonization, so to put it. Why is that? Because life started here, number one, and then life here was much more fruitful to them, meaning that there's more gold, there's more minerals, and So then later on, they said, okay, guys, we're gonna give Uenlil no Anki ama sections to say this is your base, that's your base, so that ngaqabani. Some went to Europe, some went to Asia, So everyone had their own brand, so to put it. You have your own brand to say, okay, this is my brand. I'm going to brand my people with slanted eyes. I'm going to brand my people with hair follicles, which are not kinky as Africans. But we are the original human beings. And I'm not being Afrocentric, I'm just stating the facts. So Anunnaki then comes from there to say, how do I name my company with something that's formidable? After doing my research, and then I later found out, okay, the Anunnaki, this is the impact they had. Basically, we are the gods, we are the stars that have come to this earth to spread, be it our talent, to spread, be it our message on this earth. Yes.
Sure. I think the best term I can use for that is esoteric, like it's higher order type thinking, man. Like I didn't think it was that deep.
Great, thank you.
But that's a fascinating account, I must say. I'm definitely going to do my research and find out about it, man. Dude, are you sure you're in the right industry, man? Don't you think you're supposed to be maybe a historian or an archaeologist or something, But you dropped some serious knowledge there, my brother.
Thanks,
indeed, man. So then Anunnaki, sure. Yeah, I look at it differently now that you've explained it,
Yeah.
But now it's a multifaceted company when I look at your profile and what it entails. It seems you've pretty much got the entertainment industry covered.
Yeah.
But I don't want to spoil it for you. And when we started, I said you'd tell us a bit more about it. So tell us about Anunnaki as a holding company.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So Anunnaki Pty Ltd. It's Anunnaki Group. It's a group.
Okay.
So in this group, what we have is daughter companies, basically. Entertainment, that's Anunnaki Entertainment. What does Anunnaki Entertainment entail? Hosting events.
Yeah.
The entertainment part of it, social media, as some have seen in Anunnaki Entertainment on TikTok, Instagram, Anything that has to do with the entertainment aspect of it. And then we move on. We've got Anunnaki Studios. Anunnaki Studios has to do with what? We control the artistry of Anunnaki, meaning that the artists that are signed to Anunnaki, they come and record at Anunnaki Studios. And then we've got Anunnaki Experience.
Yeah.
Now, this is the experience that marries everything together.
Yeah.
So meaning that if a common problem we had in the past was that people would have a song, but they don't know its distribution. They don't know where to push the song. They don't know how to go about having visuals. So Anunnaki experience marries everything together to say, listen, Anunnaki experience, Spetseni, I'm an artist. We've got distribution as well. We've got visuals as well. We've got events as well. We've got podcasts. We've got whatever it is. Artist management as well. It's part of Anunnaki experience. And then Abu Anunnaki visuals, they fall under those. Abu Anunnaki experience. So basically, that's the major three that we are focusing on. That's pertaining to Anunnaki. Anunnaki, the reason why I'm busy on Anunnaki or Anu is because I'm the founder of Anunnaki.
Okay.
Yes, I founded the Anunnaki in 2020, officially in 2020, but it's something that was bubbling under different names back in the day.
Okay.
Yeah, so currently we have 2 artists that are signed to it. Skivo RSA belongs to Anunnaki Entertainment. And then there's a talented, very talented singer, but Nox T, or Noctula as they know them. So Skivo has been with us for the past 2 years now. We got him at high school because I was like, in this industry, I'm not want to make the mistakes that people made. I'm not want to come and rip off these kids. No, I need to come through and teach them something valuable. So when we took him was in grade 12. We were like, okay, Poison, I'm going to produce. I produced a hit song for him. And then from there on, Saipusha, we went on tour. We got to Midrand, all these places. They loved the song. We shot a music video. Then we released his album, Umakeba. Doing very well with a lot of views on YouTube. I'm proud. But the reason why you might not know me, because my time is past to be spotlight. I'm doing this. Thank you for having me, but I'm doing this as courtesy to explain a lot of things that people didn't know. Because Uskivo no expand ukuzagim, but abantu bayabuza ini Anunnaki, is it Illuminati, is it what?
Plus it rhymes, Anunnaki, Illuminati.
Then I have to set the record straight to say, guys, this is what the Anunnaki is. And this is where the name comes from. So in terms of Anunnaki, that's it.
In business speak, I'd say that you've got a vertically integrated company because it seems like you've covered the whole aspect of the business, from actually having the talent and also equipping them, but also blending it all into kind of your own ecosystem, You don't need to go to other companies to promote your own stuff. You've got your own networks. As you say, the experience part of the business kind of blends the two and makes it into one. That's a very excellent strategy. I do want to ask, however, where's your studio operating from? You say you do have a studio, right?
It's 2 studios. One in Midrand, one like with Bank.
Okay. And obviously you split your time between the 2.
Ish, my guy. I can't. I need to I've got boys. The thing is, before I sign someone, you need to put in the work. So there's producers that we're working with.
Okay.
There's artists that we're also working with. But officially, these 2 artists are the ones that we are focusing on. I don't know if you get what I'm trying to say. So as I speak, in Midrand, there's 2 producers, there's 1 artist working that side that I'm aware of, Mina.
Okay.
And they need to deliver before a certain date. Nala with Ben Kujalo. So Mina, what I do is then I split my time between the 2. Go to Midrand, Nla with Bank. As long as both balance, my results are puma. That's how we operate.
Well, I'm happy that you're also pushing local talent, Perhaps you can also give us an idea, man, of how the industry is like, having been operating it in it for quite some time now. Is there talent here, and do you think that talent has been adequately nurtured? What's your perspective on the current status of the industry here?
There's a lot of talent in Witbank. Yes, I don't think you can fathom how much talent there is like Witbank. There's so much talent which is untapped.
I mean, we've got idol winners, but we must be doing something right.
Winners, not 1, 3. 3 winners, King. That's a lot. You see how much talent we have. And you know what the problem is with our people like Witbank? Until they see you on the big screens, billboards, TV. But they don't understand that age is over, is dead. Upper idols, they're not playing anymore. They need to understand that mainstream media is dead. Now we are forging our own platforms such as this. Podcasts, YouTube, homemade producers, as I call them. That's your platform. The problem is that they don't have the person who can come and say, guys, let me show you the vision. Let me push you guys from here to the world. We don't have to be running to Joburg like before, but we're going to be pushing from there. No, we can be pushing this from La Ekai. Another problem they have locally, with the talent that they have, managers, they don't have management locally. They don't have management. And then you come in and then you give them an offer to say, Poison, I can give you this offer. Let me manage you since the 1, 2, 3, 4, we conquer the world. Then you have
automatically
to but then you need to teach them as well. Lucky for me, I took my time with these two that I have. And others, they're starting to see now to say, isn't he's doing the most. Use Anunnaki. Anunnaki. And then now they want to be a part of it. But when you told them at that time, I'm not going to mention names, but when you tell them, they say, but now they're starting to see what my vision was, and it's taking off. So to answer your question, WorldBank has definitely got a lot of talent. It's just sad to see most of it just because of such mistakes.
But say you're in power now in government and you hold, the levers of power. For instance, you're the MEC of Arts and Culture, or even the minister, if you will. What would you be doing now for the industry?
First of all, thank you. I received my brother. If in Mugele, but I think those. Number one, I correct it's accessibility. There's so many gatekeepers in this industry, man. Entertainment. I've got a passion. I've had a passion all my life. It's my career. And you shouldn't have greed when you're in this industry. Greed is the number one thing that's crippling us as a people. Ibrahim Traore also emphasized that. Greed. Because with greed, we cannot get anywhere. So number one, I would create accessibility to talent, local talent, first of all. Youth. To say, guys, these are the platforms that we have. Youth Talent Search. Perfect example. Magnet Talent Search, that's when you get to search for talent so you can see it. On social media, a person might be so talented, Atolama views I5. Why? Because he is introverted. You cannot see that. But platforms like Talent Search, Idols was a talent search program.
But Aboshel Road to Fame, Brian, if you think of so many people that we see now who are established in the industry, most of them went through that channel.
Exactly. Why can't we have those coming from arts and culture? Why can't we have that? What are they doing with the money? They're squandering the money.
It's a question. I think having interacted with a lot of people in the entertainment space, most people are saying that we're not getting the adequate support from government, But I also agree with the notion that, there needs to be some system that captures them. Because we are struggling with so many things, and I think it's because people don't really have much to do. People are smoking nyaope and all sorts of drugs out there because somehow there was no system that came in and took them. I can imagine now, having been someone who's passionate about cameras, imagine someone coming in from government and just gifting you with a camera. If you're a person who's passionate about videography, what that could do to you as a child, that's life-changing. That could easily save you from a life of drug abuse or any other thing that kind of takes you away from your destiny. So that's why I'm asking you this question, because I feel like, as a leadership thing, everything rises and falls on leadership.
Yes.
And perhaps, there's some leadership failures as well that are making it difficult for artists to emerge.
Absolutely.
We've got so much talent, As you said, as we both said, actually, there's idols winners here, but somehow we can't seem to find a way of harvesting all these people. And that is unfortunately a tragedy, But then I want to just go back to Anunnaki. Yet again, where do you see yourself 10 years from now?
Are we there now?
Yeah. Let's look at the crystal ball.
All right, more than anything, before I get to that question, I just want to highlight the fact that, these kids' parents, when they come to me and say, Puti, siyabonga. For saving my child's life, that gives me joy. I'm not gonna lie. That's why I started doing this. And to be a leader, I believe is to actually impact someone's life or something or society in a positive way.
Yeah.
So where does Anunnaki see himself in 10 years? I see myself on a bigger platform doing what I do. My passion above anything else is business.
Yeah.
It's just that business and the arts were aligned perfectly for me to do what I'm doing currently.
Yeah.
So I see myself on another level, be it Department of Arts and Culture, be it cabinet, be it politics.
Yeah.
But my core focus, my core goal right now is to build an empire.
Yeah.
Build an empire, plow back to the community that I came out from, take away the thorns, take the flowers and raise them up. These kids need to be taught. There's no role models anymore. There's no leaders in our communities anymore. And they need to understand that leadership is not stereotypical. When you are a leader, when you're an adult, you need to be firm. No. You need to, speak their language. And show them the respect. Because they're not kids anymore. They're young adults. Show them the respect, they'll reciprocate it. But to answer that question, I just see myself having built that empire in all these sectors that I'm busy with. And then after that, they must run themselves independently. Yeah, that's where I see myself.
Automate. I love this theory that when things become a bit too hard or too difficult or unmanageable, read in a book, they once said that, focus on, if there's 10 things that you're good at, just isolate 2 or 3. And then the other 7, you either delegate, outsource, or automate. And I've believed in that concept ever since. Like, if you're good at many things, find 3 things that you're good at. The rest, just delegate. So if you can take your company as Anunnaki, as you say, I love what you said, you take it and you just want to see it run itself. And you just focus on pursuing vision. And I see you as a man of many talents, and I sincerely hope that you will, in fact, I do believe that you will realize that goal eventually one day, And as we talk about your many talents, you're also podcasting, Lead Podcast family. We've got another podcaster. As you can see, the Lead Podcast, we don't envy anyone. We invite anyone who's talented, guys. This is a podcast. And I also hope in the future that we'll invite other podcasters so we can co-podcast, and assist each other. I think we all speak a different message, but ultimately we all belong to the same industry. And who knows, it can give birth to even an association of podcasters. I know now government is pushing through means to regulate it. So in its attempts to regulate it, I think it's only fair that there's also an association of podcasters that speaks for podcasters. So podcasters out there, if you are watching, this is definitely something to look at. But tell us about your podcast as well. What do you do there?
I've always been a fan of your podcast, by the way. I'll give you one main reason why. It's because you are using the platform for our reasons are right. You get what I'm saying? So a lot of podcasts, the problem is they just want to take a certain formula developed by Usban Bani and then and then they want to do it in their own way, which does not impact the community in a positive manner. So with my podcast, basically what we do is that we shine the light on topics, talents, whatever it is that needs a spotlight. We focus on that. I'll give you an example. I've got a lady that, this was a political party that came to me and said, listen, you see that you have so many followers, you have this platform that you are pushing, the podcast, Anunnaki Experience. But there's a case that's going on, and this is affecting our community. Can you please, uingene? I intervened, and we had a talk. Not only was it therapeutic to her, but she was able to also convey her message. Her voice was heard. She was the victim. She was the mother's victim. The victim's mother, excuse me. The victim's mother. And after doing that, she was able to get a petition. And that petition was well exercised, implemented, and it worked. That made me happy.
So justice was eventually delivered.
Justice, because I'm not going to dwell too much into the nitty-gritties, but justice eventually was there. She got her justice. That's one case. Another case I'll give you, and then today, there's a lady, Nambeni, I saw on TikTok. I met her on TikTok. She was posting, with she stays in a home. It's 5 of them. She's the eldest. And all these things. I was like, no, man, I need to do something.
Yeah.
I contacted the same politicians that came to me.
Yeah.
Like, guys, I did you a solid. Apart from that, we need to help this girl. They intervened. Some landa. I was like, guys, please, no cameras. The cameras will come after Masesenze Yonkinto. We got the footage, nani, it's good.
Yeah.
You'll bring your regalias, ntoytoyeni, msebenzi masowenzekile.
Yeah.
Guess what? Today, Mama Kelindlu, running water. She didn't, the toilet, it was a pit toilet.
Yeah.
There's running water, there's everything. Sorted. That made me happy to see her, interview her today. That smile on her face. I was like, yes, you see the power of such platforms. Never underestimate social media, podcasts, and all these things. It's a voice.
Yeah.
And I look at her today. Apart from that, talent as well is another thing that we focus on. I'm talking about local artists who are singers, who like, to come and, showcase their work. I give them, I'm going to give you a shot. If you're promoting a local business, come through. Come and do your thing. Do you understand? Because I understand that we are all from different walks of life.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to, house my podcast to say this is only what we focus on. For the mere fact that this is a platform, let's use it impactfully.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. No, I think it's something that we also believe in, man. I'm not going to try and speak ill of other podcasts, but I believe that we should make an impact.
Yes, sir.
I opened up the podcast by saying impactfulness.
Yes, sir.
And we see the work that you've been doing impacting, And I actually did want to ask you about the podcast and that specific case because I saw that you're using it also as a tool, to be an activist for some social injustices, My only concern, though, was that you were very sure of who this person is. There was no alleged. In the media space, people say allegedly.
But I did say allegedly.
I don't remember seeing it. I was like,
when we opened, I did say.
I hope you don't get sued or anything like that.
No, I did say allegedly.
But yeah, we'll have to revisit it. But I love the fact that this media, has been disrupted. Traditional media has been disrupted. And we've got platforms like podcasts such as yours, ours as well, and many others as well, that are giving people platform and people are being inspired, Content is being consumed differently. And we really just want to encourage you as well. Just continue, man. Well, we will definitely be following you. And I believe that after this podcast as well, when it is, we'll also direct people to your platform. But dude, you've got a lot of things that you are doing. For to be easy, Joe, I want to ask you how you get balance in your life because I know that you're also full-time employed somewhere.
No,
you're not full-time.
Anymore.
Not anymore.
No,
you've stopped completely.
That's why I've. To answer your question, I get time because
you fired your boss.
Because I fired my boss.
Eventually,
no, it's time now.
Yeah.
Because when I was employed full time, I used to do these things as a side hustle.
Yeah.
And then I realized, no, man, this is actually generating a pretty high income. Why don't I focus on this full time?
Yeah.
Years and then see where it goes.
What can happen? Yeah.
What can happen? And it's going very well. December last year. End of December, I was like, it's chai. It's chai. It's time now to focus on the empire.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to lie. I'm a busy man because, the work ethic, man. I was taught from a young age to say, work hard.
Yeah.
Whether you want to be a jack for all trades, whatever it is that you want to do in life, go for it. Nothing is stopping you. There's no barriers. So, Anunnaki. Patisa, Tiapula. Those are my babies.
Tell us about these the babies in the home as well. We know about Anunnaki, but you've just mentioned others as well. What's that about?
I like what you said earlier on, Uguti, one company marries the other or rebuilds the other one.
Yeah.
So it's basically the same notion that I'm coming up with here. I'll give you an example. Patisa. Patisa is a logistics company. Specifically, Ipatisa deals with deliveries, no kapa like request if from somewhere. So I moved back home like with bank December. Mangfika ngifuna order man Uber Eats ayifiki ngidime njani manje. We need a solution lana. Why are we not having food coming to us, people delivering at this time? That's when, luckily for me, I was already doing it that side. I had the company. So 15 eskuta in total.
Yeah.
And some of them's operator is Nambeni, ezinye selokshini, ezinye clarinet.
Yeah.
A town, I'm not going to touch it. It's too saturated. I'd rather focus on my communities one.
Yeah.
Very passionate about my community.
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, these boys who are doing music, most of them are they don't have jobs.
Yeah.
So why can't I teach them how to drive a scooter? Male bayenze magigini, bathola ama license we-scooter. Bakushaya scooter during the week, ngama weekend baya performa, baya recorda, bayenzani.
Yeah.
I've killed two birds with one stone. Untwana uhlala busy, ngapha unespan. So that's how I looked at it.
Yeah.
From ngada, mangiletha ngapha, it went to another level. So that's iparties.
Yeah.
And then the last one, it's Yapula. Leo, that's a family business. I'm talking for my family, my partner, and my kids.
Yeah.
That deals with real estate. It's properties.
Okay.
Yeah. So we've got a couple of properties. I'm not going to dwell too much into it.
Yeah.
But it's properties that we are dealing with.
Okay.
Yeah. But those are the three babies that I'm looking at. Yeah.
I love your entrepreneurial spirit, my brother. In a world where, we're all told to go to school and get a job, it's always nice. And this is rebellious talk, but it must be said to see someone who runs away from the rat race, and decides to just jump off the cliff, and assemble a parachute on the way down, It's either you crash. The world of entrepreneurship is actually literally just jumping off a cliff every day, taking a risk in life, basically, and just making sure that you do whatever to give yourself as soft a landing as possible, That's my view of entrepreneurship, and seeing people such as yourself who are doing that, who are entrepreneurial, no matter how much safety of a salary you can get, nothing can ever beat the joy of waking up and doing what you love. Day in, day out. And I see that showing in the work that you do. I see that in the many things that you are doing. I looked at your CV, I'm like, okay, it's not even a CV, it's a profile.
It's a profile.
I'm like, Diman. Bruh, I'm still here to ask you about philanthropy work that you're doing. You're also doing work in the arts.
Yes.
You're also an actor.
Yes,
please, man, enlighten us, bruh. Like, where acte uphi, philanthropize kuphi nota.
Exactly, move the layout. Life.
Yeah.
Cameraman.
One of our cameramen. Yeah.
This was what, 2012, ne? Yeah, that's when I started the acting career. He brought us in to say, guys, listen, the same thing that I'm doing, essentially. I think I just took it to another level. But I was like, guys, what can we do to keep ourselves busy?
Yeah.
It was during the holidays, end of November, December. Came with a camera, gave us a script and said, this is what we're going to do.
Yeah.
And then we did it. Inyatsi was the first movie I did. And then I went on to do Kulasbone. I was on that Kulasbone show.
Yeah.
Back in the day, I was also on Gem Alley. I was also on, what's this production Yasitembisa, man? Mafela Ndawonye.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a YouTube web series.
Okay.
Mafela Ndawonye. I think those are the major ones that I did. But acting for me, not really that much, man. It's not my cup of tea.
Yeah.
But I also produce. Ngishaya piano. Ngikhuthman le piano nje, put anu.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
ngishaya production. I've got a song out called Indlela. Guys, go check it out. It's a dope. It's a dope song. I've got both my artists, Nox T, no Skivo.
Yeah.
Produced by me, mixed and mastered by me. In terms of philanthropy, every year in June, we have a soup kitchen.
Okay.
Yeah. A soup kitchen, basically what we do there is we give abantu aba underprivileged or who are displaced, as I like to call them.
Yeah.
A cup of soup, a piece of bread, a conversation.
Yeah.
To say, Buffett, you are not alone. We are here with you. And funny thing is, remember, I don't come from a church.
Yeah.
I'm not affiliated to any religious movement. And they always ask us this because it's my team.
Yeah.
Like, where will it be sold? And we always laugh and say, you see the stereotypes is corner. They assume that if you're doing good,
from
you
a
are
church.
coming from a church, you are coming from this. Why are we limiting ourselves? Do you understand? And that kind of content is something, that I don't normally share, but for documentation purposes, I did it. And we did it in Midrand, since ngibuyile la with Benki.
Yeah.
Next month, yasuka baba. First, every Sunday of June.
Yeah.
So it's something that I do out of the goodness of my own heart, but I've got sponsors as well that are on board.
Yeah.
Who are also going to help out. NGOs, NPOs, and some shops which I won't mention, but they've been really helpful and they lended a hand. And I'm hoping this year good things will fara nama political parties, because if you are a community leader, you need to show it. Don't just talk the talk. Walk the walk with us. Say now Shaisopo the day before, and you will see it's so therapeutic. Yeah.
I love the fact that you actually also deal with, the humane side of business. Business can be quite inhumane, where people are very profits driven, which is not a bad thing, because you do need money to run things in life. But also, how do you take that money and make an impact, For me, the most glorious part of leadership is always the legacy.
Yes, sir.
You can have everything. And I think I understand why some billionaires would maybe upon death or retirement actually sell everything they have or the stock holdings that they have, and to convert that into cash and just use it to change people's lives. Because at the end of the day, we came in naked and we're going to leave naked. So how do you use your wealth now to create that wealth for your children, which might not necessarily be monetary, but you've shown them, guys, like, just find what you love, make money out of it, but change people's lives, And on that old theme as well, I'd like to ask you, are you doing any work in teaching people about your industry? I can tell you now for free that something like mastering music, I don't know what that is. But I know there's a young boy or girl out there who's very passionate about music. They would like to know what mastering is. They'd like to know what editing is. Is there any work or any plans to get involved in the teaching aspect of what you do?
I'm already in the teaching aspect of it, and I've been doing it for years.
Yeah.
If you go to my social media,
that's
when you can see my service packages.
Yeah.
To say, okay, guys, if you want to learn how to mix, master, come to me. If you want to record, come to me. If you want to learn how to, what's the other one that I added the other day? Motivational speaking.
Yeah.
There's a way that you can learn that.
Yeah.
But you must understand that it must be innate. If you don't have it, I'm going to tell you straight up, you don't have it.
Yeah.
Consider doing something else. So that I don't come here and no, I don't do that.
It's not personal.
So I think if you visit Anunnaki _experience, there's no E, the beginning of experience.
Okay.
You will see on TikTok that I have such packages. You'll see on Instagram, it's also there. Apart from that, locally as well, I work with a lot of local artists, which are not signed to me, by the way.
Yeah.
This collaboration, nakona, is at a fee. But most of them, I'm not gonna lie, it's not monetary, like you said. When they come and say, "Grotman, mina angna mali, but nyazo ukuthi talented, ngina something." Okay, let me give you a shot. If you have it, I'll tell you, and then we'll take it from there. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
Azange ngimtshela ukuthi ngibhadala igezi, ngithenge iMcDonald's.
Angifake ibhithini yakho lapho. Yeah, technically you didn't contribute, but you created the environment, I guess.
And mina zange ngikhawathe anywhere, because I try to stay away from looking moneyed, as opposed to actually being, and as opposed to actually doing something positive with that wealth. So I'm from a humble home. They taught me from a young age. But I once made that mistake. I'm not gonna lie, but I'm a human being now. I once made that mistake, but I reverted back to say, no, man, this is not who I am. And I can tell you this, my guy, it won't make you happy. No. It didn't make me happy. It wasn't who I am. So I was like, okay, move.
Yeah.
Let me start afresh and try to figure out what can we do with this wealth? Hence, philanthropy, hence investing in local talent, hence growing the empire.
Yeah.
And teaching these kids to say, boys, there's nothing wrong with going to school and getting an education.
Yeah.
But with that education, what are you going to do with that education? Do something that will impact, that will develop you as an individual in the long run. That will take care of you.
Yeah.
I'm for that. At the same time, be humble. Don't come here and flaunt what you have. Because people out there, people out there, they're starving. It's rough for some people out there. Do you understand? So take that. And a perfect example is Elon Musk.
Yeah.
Not the current one. Before he was influenced by politics.
Yeah.
Yeah. Before that, a visionary, a trailblazer, a great businessman. And what he did and what he's doing for the world, not only the country, it shows in his work. And he lives in a simple house, doesn't live in a mansion, but he's the richest man in the world. Jeff Bezos, before he became, I don't want to say the word, but he was a chilled, nerdy dude driving a Honda. Mark Zuckerberg now. But you know what I blame? Who I blame? The partners. This is another point. It's very important to get the right partner.
Yeah.
Look at me, for example. I was making sharp. My figures are right. And then out of the blue, I said, listen, I'm 9 to 5, sing right. But because I had a strong woman, and I still have a strong woman, she was like, okay, it's fine, babe. I got your back. It's going to be shaky, but I'm telling you, give it a couple of months, things will pick up.
Yeah.
And it's happening now because I had a strong partner. So a strong partner is important, and it's not gender-based. You can't be a man, you can't be a woman, still have the same ideologies and the same entrepreneurial spirit.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you must have your eyes locked on your vision. And don't let anyone deter you from that vision. To say, I'm going to achieve it, and that's that. Yes, sir.
I'm happy you said that because we're about to draw to a close now. And I actually wanted to ask you to say something to the young Tshepo out there. There's someone who's watching and they're inspired. But you took the words right out of my mouth because you shared some pearls of wisdom there.
So,
no. Feel free. We had to start winding down. I think we try our best to keep our podcast as short as possible. But very, very, very important words of wisdom from a man who has really worked and walked the journey. But I'll still ask you this question, just one simple strategy. Briefly, please.
Yes.
About what principles in all your years of experience have you applied or have you learned from your time in your living and also in your working and in life that you want to share with us?
Discipline, paramount. Discipline, you must be very disciplined in the sense that if you say you're going to do something, don't procrastinate, do it, and stick to your goal. Time management is very important. You need to control your time. In a day, we are given the same amount of hours.
True.
And it's how you use yours. And it's a cliche, but it's so true. Manage your time. And you'd be surprised how much you can get done in a day.
Yeah.
Hard work.
Always.
Important. Always. Hard work. Like, guys, you know, the human body, it's amazing. It's an amazing being that can be stretched to its limits. So hard work is a mindset.
Yeah.
If you can tell yourself that you wake up and so, which applying discipline and all the other ones that I mentioned, you do certain things in a day, you grind as much as you can.
Yeah.
If you can do it in your 9 to 4, why can't you do it when you're investing in yourself?
Yeah. Do you need to have a boss hovering over you and the threat of losing a job to motivate you to work?
Bro, Eminem. Eminem was like, I treat my career like a 9 to 5. In the sense that I get to work the studio on 9. I do whatever I have to do, whether it's features, production, rapping, whatever. I take lunch, and then I go back in. So the theory behind it is the same work, hard work that you're putting into someone else's empire, put it in your empire as well. Plow in yourself, invest in yourself. Yeah, I think those are the major 3 ones that I can. And another one, self-actualization.
Yeah.
self-actualization is very important.
Know thyself.
Know thyself.
Yeah.
Know thyself, because if you don't know yourself, there's a lot of temptations out there. And if you know yourself, you know what you want, nothing is going to stop you. Yeah.
Tshepo, thank you so much, my brother, for coming to the Lead podcast. You've shared a lot. You've said a mouthful. Even our cameraman is quite excited, especially at the self-actualization part. But it's so true.
Thank you.
Know yourself, man, and be yourself. As Mr. Lopsha also famously said, it's only in being yourself that you release your true self. And if you release your true self and you work at it, talent becomes skill, and skill eventually becomes monetized and also becomes impactful. There's that word again that we started with. And I believe that's what you are doing. We've seen it on the socials. You're a very impactful man. And we're looking forward to seeing what life has in store for you, my brother. But otherwise, you very much fit the mold of what the Lead podcast is all about. Bringing, excellent leadership, impactful leadership. And we really, really wish you all the best in all your future endeavors. Thank you for coming on board. To our viewers as well. Before I close, actually, I was like, you promoting it, I was like, this guy is such a manager. He's such an events guy. He's such an entertainer. You'll always take any opportunity, my man, to promote whatever you are doing, It's proof that you are definitely in the entertainment space. But Lead Podcast family, you've got it straight out of the oven. We do all things, whether it's entertainment or law, we bring you the creme de la creme of leadership. And we will continue to do that for you as we have here today. So we'll definitely be seeing you very soon. And thank you to our sponsors, our advertisers, Matles and Zen. You gotta taste this water, guys. I know water is water at the end of the day, but there must be some juju in here, I'm pretty sure. I'm joking. But yeah, definitely. Thank you so much, Matles and Zen, for supporting us as our new advertisers on the podcast. Thank you so much. We love you guys and see you again soon. Bye.